How to set up JavaScript environment variables. Imagine being able to change how your JavaScript application behaves without touching the code every time. That's where environment variables come into play. They are like secret switches that control settings such as API keys or whether your app runs in development or production mode. Setting them up correctly is a key part of mastering JavaScript for web development. First, let's understand what environment variables are. They are key-value pairs stored outside your main code. Think of them as labels that tell your app how to behave depending on where it is running. For example, you might want to use a different database URL in development than in production. Instead of changing your code, you just change the environment variable. In Node.js, which is a popular way to run JavaScript on the server, you can set environment variables directly in your terminal. On a Mac or Linux system, you type port is equal to 3000 dotenv is equal to development node app. JS to start your app with specific settings. On Windows, you use set port is equal to 3000 then run node app. JS. This method is quick but temporary. For a more permanent setup, you can create a file called env in your project folder. Inside, you write your variables like port is equal to 3000, dotenv is equal to development, or db host is equal to localhost. To load these variables into your JavaScript code, you need to install a package called dotenv. You do this by typing npm install dotenv in your terminal. Then, at the top of your JavaScript file, add require dotenv config. And now, you can access your variables with process.env, variable name. For example, const port is equal to process. Env, port 3000, will use the environment variable or default to 3000 if it's not set. When deploying your app, setting environment variables depends on your hosting platform. For example, on Heroku, you use Heroku config set dotenv is equal to production. If you use Docker, you pass variables with Docker run dotenv is equal to production your image. On Linux servers, you can export variables in startup scripts or system files. For front-end JavaScript, environment variables work differently. Since the code runs in the browser, you can't access server-like environment variables directly. Instead, build tools or frameworks inject these variables during the build process. For example, in React, variables that start with React app in your env file become accessible as process.env, React app variable. When you build your project, these variables are embedded into the code. A few tips to keep in mind. Always keep sensitive keys out of your code by using env files or secure environment management. Use environment variables to switch between different setups easily. For local development, dotenv makes managing variables simple. When deploying, relying on your hosting provider's environment variable settings. Getting comfortable with environment variables helps you make your JavaScript applications more flexible and secure. It's a fundamental skill that makes managing different environments much easier and safer.